So we're here tonight to launch this very aggressive fight against esophageal cancer, but not just the fight against cancer and the fight for research, but the fight to nurture the people who are touched by it directly, to help them in many ways that Melissa and David watched and went through this and what they learned and now how they can apply it so that other people can benefit from their experience in a sense of easing the pain. And so we are so appreciative that you are here. We're so grateful. And now, without further ado, let me welcome the inspiration for this. And boy, she is determined, and boy, she is strong, and boy, she is nervous. But we're going to support her. Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa Cohen.
Thank you, David. Welcome to the first annual fundraiser and cocktail reception for the Cohen Esophageal Cancer Initiative. When my husband David and I decided to do this last summer, everyone said we were crazy. Who would start a nonprofit in the current economy? But we decided that it was too important for us to not at least try. There are two reasons we were inspired to be here tonight. The first is my dad, my hero, Paul Cohen, who lost his battle with esophageal cancer last July after 21 months. And the second is my father-in-law, Ira Cohen, who is currently fighting his own war with esophageal cancer. Yes, you heard right. They both have the same last name. So you can imagine what it's like when all of us are in the same room. My goal had been to be able to do this in honor of these two very important men, but things have changed. My dad is no longer here, but the one thing that hasn't changed is that Paul and Ira were and are two of the most caring and generous people out there. Anyone who knew my dad would agree. And Ira, I'm sorry I let the secret out. But how did we get here? Back in 2007, the first diagnosis came. From the beginning, it was difficult, and I still remember that day as if it were yesterday. The doctors, the terminology, the time, and the overall confusion. There was little information out there, and only a few ways to obtain it. Esophageal cancer is not a well-known or well-supported disease. We read what we could, and we asked everything of everyone we could. Then, of course, came the consultations and the treatments. In 2008, the second diagnosis was made, and we started all over again. It was a bit easier this time, as we had just been through it the year before, but it still felt as though there was a void. The most surprising thing is that neither of them had any idea they were sick or had anything wrong. That's the scary part of esophageal cancer. By the time it is found, it is usually too late, and is usually found by accident through a routine endoscopy. Many of us suffer from heartburn, but who ever thinks it can cause cancer? It can, and it does. The risk factors are just a guideline, and they don't always play a role in who gets it. At one point in our lives, almost everyone can meet one or more of the criteria. They are male, which is about half the room, overweight, everyone's occasionally overweight, over 60, we all will be at one point, long-term tobacco use and long-term heavy alcohol use. That's up to you to decide. Poor diet, all of us at times. Frequent consumption of hot liquids, that's up to you. And probably the most important is GERD and/or Barrett's esophagus. But remember, esophageal cancer does not discriminate, and everyone is at risk. In 2009, 16,470 adults were diagnosed. Over 14,000 of them died, which is about 88%. Esophageal cancer is more likely in men than women and 2 times more likely in African Americans. The 5-year survival rate is just 16 to 18% for Caucasians and only 11% for African Americans. The lifetime risk is 1 in 200. These are staggering statistics. And keep in mind that esophageal cancer is the fastest growing cancer in the United States, and all the others are on the decline, which is why the mission of CECI is twofold. The first is to raise awareness, promote screening, provide education, and partner on research efforts. This we have already begun to do by partnering with Bart Frazetta of the Esophageal Cancer Education Foundation, who is a survivor of esophageal cancer and has been single-handedly working to get this message out there. The other is Mindy Mordecai of the Esophageal Cancer Action Network, which has been lobbying Congress to make April Esophageal Cancer Awareness Month and to put more funding behind esophageal cancer the way they do other cancers. At this time, I would like to show you a brief PSA produced by Mindy Mordecai and her daughters, highlighting the importance of screening and early detection.